Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here with us today, this Friday. Happy Friday everyone. My name is Selene Almaguer. I'm a realtor with the amazing team, Elite Realty. Woo! Thank you guys. And again, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to be joining you today to every Friday during lunchtime. So bon appetit if you're eating lunch right now. Please share this video so we can get to more people. We never know who might be waiting for this information. And if you can make it till the end, don't worry, we're gonna leave those videos in our pages so you can go back and visit anytime you need to, okay? So the topic for today, this is a question that I wanna say 90% of the time, the clients that we work with, or even more, ask this question. And the big question is, why is my closing disclosure always changing? That's a big question, and we're gonna answer that today. So just to start, what is a closing disclosure? If you're not familiar with this term, it is referred as a CD as well. So if you hear the CD, the closing disclosure is the same thing. It's basically a 5-page package that you get, about 5 pages, that you get in there. It discloses all the fees related to the transaction. So you're gonna have the term of the loan, the interest rate that you're getting, what is your monthly payment is gonna be in there, the escrow amount, all the fees that you're paying for the transaction, like the lender fees, title fees, and all those fees are gonna be in that disclosure. And how many disclosures do we get during the transaction? We only get 2 disclosures. That's the initial disclosure and the final disclosure. But we also get something that is called the loan estimate. And that loan estimate is very similar to the closing disclosure. They look the same, they have the same information. So it seems like we get about 3 during the transaction, but it's the initial disclosure, the final disclosure, and the loan estimate. Sometimes you might get another one, but it's very rarely. You always get usually 3. And they look all 3, even though they're same document, they have the same fees, they have the same information, they tend to look different every time you get them. Why is that? Well, the first one is the one that scares people the most, is the loan estimate. That's the one that you get at the beginning. And that one is gonna look way different than the final disclosure, and it usually looks a lot bigger. Bigger, by what I mean by bigger is because it includes also the cash to close that you're gonna need, including down payment and all that. That amount, cash to close, is usually bigger on the loan estimate than it will actually be. And then clients get a little concerned and they're like, oh, okay, well, this is not what I was expecting. Well, those are not the final numbers. It's just like a loan estimate, and it's not gonna be the exact amount that you're gonna need at closing. And then you might be asking, okay, why if these are not the numbers, why do I need to get that loan estimate and scare me? Well, the reason is because that loan estimate has to be given to you, and it has a specific timeline. The lender has 3 days after you do an application with them to give you that loan estimate. So once you apply, the lender only has 3 days to give you that loan estimate. And that's why it looks way off, because it's a very general estimate. They don't have much time. They already got your application. Maybe they check your credit and your things, but they haven't go deep into your transaction or your case. So they don't know all the details yet, but they do have to put that out. They have to give you that estimate so you know, you're aware of the fees that you're gonna be paying. You get an idea of how much money you're gonna need at closing. And on that estimate, usually they don't include any credits that you're getting from the seller. So it's just like a very general estimate, and they have to give it to you, and that's why it looks very different from the final numbers. Now, it's really important that you have that estimate, because then you know what to expect a little, get an idea of what to expect. And it's not enough just for you to get that loan estimate. You also have to sign it. And this is another question or another concern that the clients have. A lot of times it's like, okay, well, they don't want to sign it because the numbers look too big, or it's not what they thought it was going to be, and they don't want to sign it because they think that they're committing to something that they were not expecting, right? Well, that's not necessary. Well, that's not the case. You need to sign that loan estimate, and it's not saying that those are going to be the amounts that you're going to be bringing to close. It just says that you already received the loan estimate, and that allows the lender to keep the process going. If you don't sign that loan estimate, then the process is going to be stopped until you sign that, because they need to keep going. They need to know that you already read that document, that you have an idea of the fees, that you know what's going on, and signing that document just says that you acknowledge you received the document. It doesn't say that those are going to be the final numbers. So after that loan estimate, then we get the initial disclosure. This one is going to look different from the loan estimate, and it's going to look different than the final disclosure, but this one is closer to the final. So amounts are going to be very similar to the final disclosure, and this one also has a very specific timeline. The lender has to give you, or you have to sign this initial disclosure 3 days prior closing. And this is really important. It has to be 3 days prior closing. If you don't sign those the disclosure those 3 days before, you're not going to close on time, and your closing date is going to move. So as soon as you get that initial disclosure, read it, review it, and sign it. So then it can keep going and you can close on time. The numbers on this one is going to be a lot closer to what you're going to need at closing, but it might be a little different as well. And again, why do I get an initial disclosure if these are not the numbers? Well, the reason is because you have to get it 3 days before closing, so that way you get 3 days to fix any discrepancies or anything that needs to be fixed in there. They give you that 3-day window to do that. So you get that initial disclosure, make sure you read it, review it, and see if anything needs to be changed or anything needs to be fixed. You let the lender know so they can work on that, and then you can close on time. You have to sign it as well. So, because the loan estimate and the initial disclosure, it's done by the lender. The lender is going to do those, and it's going to give you the numbers. But the third one and final one, title company, is the one who works on the final numbers. So by you signing that initial disclosure, you allow, or you give the green light to title and say, okay, I already have the information. Go ahead and start working on a final disclosure. So make sure you read it, you sign it on time so you can close on time. And when do you get the final disclosure? When do you get the final numbers? Well, usually you get it 1 day before closing, and I've seen that you get it on the day of closing. That can be a little stressful sometimes, because then people is like, oh my God, what's happening? What's going on? But the reason why they wait until the last minute is because on that disclosure, there are fees that are calculated by day, like property taxes. They calculate those property taxes by day, so they have to wait at the last minute to give you the final numbers. The initial is going to look very similar to the final numbers. It might change a little bit on the cash to close, but it's not going to be a big difference. It's just very small. And by now, it doesn't mean like during the whole transaction you're going to be like questioning, oh my God, how much money I'm going to need, because the lender somehow already gave you those numbers, maybe by phone, on a text or something like that. You're already going to know what's going to happen, but the final exact numbers with the cents and everything, it's going to be on the final disclosure, and that you might get on the day of closing or 1 day before of closing. And I think we should do another live later on another time to show you how to read that disclosure, because it has important information, and you get 3, so you can get familiar with it. But on another live, we're gonna go do another live so we can show you how to read the closing disclosure, and you can feel more comfortable. But make sure that you, every time you get it, maybe you have questions, ask your lender, ask your realtor, so you don't, you're not blinded during the transaction, and you can always make decisions informed. Do we have any questions, Mindy?
We do know that was all very, very good information.
Thank you so much. Well, if you do have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My number is 512-938-2288. You can text me, you can call me, or you can just leave us a message here on Instagram or Facebook. we are always available here for you. And if you have any other questions or regards to real estate, you have a topic in mind that you want us to do a live for, let us know. We're always open to that as well. So thank you so much again for being here with us this Friday. I hope you have an amazing weekend. And remember that everyone can own a little piece of Texas. We just need the right plan to do it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Ooh.